Hello and welcome to Anatomy of Us, a show dedicated to bringing real help to real couples. I'm your host, Melanie Studley.
What's up, guys? My name is Seth Studley. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and together we are high-performance marriage coaches.
We are cutting through the bullcrap and creating a movement of happy, healthy, badass couples all over the world.
Let's go! Welcome to the show, and today we are interviewing a friend and a colleague in the space, Mrs. Salta Jones. Hello, how are you?
Hello, thank you so much for having me here. I'm super excited because I'm a huge fan of both of you. Once again, thank you so much for having me here.
Absolutely. Well, we are a fan of you, your personality, your accent, and your hypnotherapy work. So could you
hold on, let me set this. I have to set the stage because Salta, how long have we been friends? It's been,
oh my gosh, almost 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, we've been friends for almost 10 years. Salta, she doesn't live in Washington anymore, but we used to go walking all the time. We used to do hypnotherapy at the park across the street where we live.
Pilates.
And it is a
Pilates?
rare day that I get to interview one of my best friends for the work that they do on our show. So I'm like uber excited. And we love you, Salta, so much. But Seth was going to ask you to introduce yourself. So go ahead and tell us who you are and what you do.
All right. Yeah, I will just give a very brief intro because it feels as if this was in my prior life. By background, I'm a tax advisor. So I worked in international accounting firms. And of course, it was a great career. And I just kept feeling like I would like to do something else now, something that is really close to my heart. Mm-hmm. And when we moved to the US, we actually took 1 year off just to understand where we are, what we would like to do. And then slowly and gradually, of course, I just kept reading. I was very blessed that I had the time to just keep learning, keep reading. And and at one point I decided, okay, I believe that I need to find a way to work with my subconscious mind because I always keep working on myself. And then when I read so many books and so many different modalities, at the time, it appeared to me as if hypnosis will be the royal road to altered states. And I can elaborate why altered states a little later.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that you're like, after examining my life, I thought I should work with my subconscious mind. Just like what 1% of the zillions of people would ever think. And I love that that's the route you went.
Right. Can you tell us, and we'll totally get into the hypnotherapy stuff, because as a therapist, I've always found that just absolutely fascinating. The mind, the subconscious, all just completely, that is the best thing. Can you tell us a little bit about where you're from? And obviously you have a very, very beautiful accent, which I love. And so tell us a little bit where you're from and where you grew up and what was that like?
Oh, sure. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. I guess I'm a little excited here and just jumped into everything right away. I originally come from Kazakhstan. That's a huge, actually, country by size. It's number 9 in the world. I know that people may not have heard of Kazakhstan just because, it's one of the former Soviet Union republics. And I lived in that country through 2012. In August 2012, we moved to the US because my husband is, as I call it, American. I'm American as well right now. Yeah, definitely. And so we moved to Maple Valley, a beautiful, beautiful place. And we just love our house that we have in Maple Valley, Pacific Northwest. And that's how I came to the US. And that's where my accent comes from.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Awesome. I love that your worlds are so different. Like your tax accountant, whatever that, like just math. All I think was math. That was like one half of what you did. And now you do a whole different thing, which I totally, totally love. And I do want to point out that we utilized your hypnotherapy services in our own life with our family, in our relationship. And so I want to dive into that at some point. We will talk about that. But what was the question that you had? You wanted to ask more about why don't you give us a rundown of what hypnotherapy is and like how it works and how it can help people?
Yeah. Okay. So I always think of a very short and brief description first. So I believe that hypnotherapy is a modality to work with your whole mind, like deeper mind, I call it. And yeah, so I'm just, it's actually the new kid on the block, as I call it. Yeah, because right now it's so sort of well-known, famous. People are interested. It's something mystical. They would like to understand whether it's some modality, something that will sort of like a magic bullet will solve all of their problems, and basically they will become a new personality overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in a way that could happen, absolutely, where you have huge transformational shift. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, it's up to you in your everyday life to continue embracing and continue discovering new ways of aligning with your true personality, which you basically discover during sessions with me. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if that quick sort of description is a good description of hypnotherapy.
Yeah. Like everyone in the world thinks hypnotherapy. Well, okay, not in the world, in America. Thinks, oh, hypnotherapy. There's some guy on stage holding a watch,
clock,
and makes you dance like a chicken or something.
Right. Hypnosis. Yeah.
Hypnosis, right?
True.
And which it is much more different from that. And I feel if I give a little explanation of why I got into psychology in the first place, it will give a little more definition of what hypnotherapy is. I'm not a hypnotherapist. I'm a therapist, but Salta is a clinically trained, licensed hypnotherapist, right? So
yes,
when I was in 10th grade, I had a psychology class, and I grew up way out in the country, right? So I was the only non-super redneck in the whole class. Everybody, I don't know why, but that's just how it ended up. And the types of questions I asked to the teacher, she was like, "Oh, okay, this guy actually wants to know something about it, and not just make
jokes about it,
in class." And somehow I found a book, and it was called When Rabbit Howls. And it's the story of a lady named Trudy Chase who went through unbelievable trauma as a young child, like physical, sexual, all kinds of just terrible trauma as a young child. Mm-hmm. And how her mind adapted to deal with those terrible traumas was she developed, back then it was called multiple personality disorder. Now it's called dissociative identity disorder, right? So she basically created all these parts in her mind subconsciously. Her conscious didn't go, oh, we need to create all these protectors and stuff. Mm-hmm. And she had names, and then she would take on those personas. And the book was so fascinating to me in 10th grade, like 15, 16 years old. I was like, my mind was absolutely blown of the fact of, wait a minute, your mind can separate itself to protect itself to survive and create these things. And I was just completely mesmerized. That's why I'm a therapist today, basically, from that book in 10th grade.
Wow.
And so that involves the conscious, the subconscious mind, right? Different, very deep parts of your mind. Absolutely. And in my understanding, clinical understanding and like practical understanding, like when I say practical, like we've actually done several sessions with Salta before, understanding is you have the ability, we as humans have the ability to be led by another trained person into those parts of our mind that get covered up, that get forgotten, that get just buried away because of our society, because of culture, because of different things that happen. And what hypnotherapy does, correct me if I'm wrong, but what it did for me, it allowed me the opportunity to access, guided of course through you, Salta, the opportunity to access those actual real parts of my personality, my conscious, my subconscious, and allowed me in a way to live the subconscious out through the conscious, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. And I thank you, Seth, for sort of describing this and relating to your own experience and what you know about psychology, sort of connecting everything, because everything is interconnected. Absolutely. And I'm here, of course, first of all, just maybe a little caveat. I am a licensed and certified hypnotherapist. And whenever I work with clients, I always double check that if you're working with a doctor, with a psychologist, counselor, physician, then I'm always like an adjunct. I'm always in addition to your main team to help you. And Seth, you're absolutely right. Our mind is amazing. It's so powerful. That's why I actually got into this whole sphere, just because it's fascinating. I love neuroscience. And basically, you're absolutely right. Like in our everyday consciousness, right now we're talking, right? So we're talking, it's of course mainly our conscious mind, which is at the forefront. And especially the sort of product of the conscious mind is this me, the story of me, which is narrated by the language-based cognitive part of our mind. So basically, right now, the conscious mind is at the forefront. Of course, our conscious minds right now are also in the play. They are registering everything. They are actually thinking, what do we need to sort of help Salta with? Just bring up some other ideas or cases or anything, right? So what you do during our session, just because I am so fascinated about this, and that's why I trained and I spent, enormous number of hours reading on my own as well. So I know most probably a little more than an average person about this area. So that's why I can be a very reliable guide to sort of show you how to come into this state, because it is sort of an altered state, which is very natural, where we basically then say, hey, our conscious mind, would you please just take a back seat? And then right now, I would like to understand what's really going on. I certainly know your story of the conscious mind, of me. This is the narrator. This is the one that judges us, all of this, right? The subconscious mind is a huge repository of everything that has happened in our lives. It registers everything. It remembers everything. It has everything. Whether the conscious mind is aware of that, that's another question, because the subconscious mind always protects us as a personality from anything which we are not ready to face, which we are not ready to process, or sometimes completely protecting us. And that's what you are talking about, this multiple personality disorder, right? Because that's the sort of function and the main responsibility of the subconscious mind, especially, truly protect you. So it comes up with any coping mechanisms so that you actually can survive in the moment. So that's why with little kids, whenever any unimaginable traumas happen, basically this dissociation happens, right? So your conscious mind sort of does not participate in this at all. So that's why there are those amnesias, like when people sort of don't remember whole periods of their lives. That's because the subconscious mind does not allow it to surface to your conscious mind. And even in the moment when the trauma was happening, basically you were out of it in terms of your conscious mind.
Right.
So that's why there are sort of two ways. And because I just read a lot, and I talk a lot because I'm passionate about this, two schools or approaches. Of course, if, for example, we look at Michael Singer or Eckhart Tolle or any of those enlightened people who Ram Dass, they talk about it and they say, there is a direct and radical approach. Basically, everything depends, and everything depends truly on your awareness. Whether you are aware and you can actually exist sort of in dual realms, which is like our physical Newtonian realm right now, right here. That's what we're doing. Seth, you have a body, Melanie has a body, I have a body, we have this conscious mind, we're talking, right? In the meantime, of course, there is an invisible realm. So this quantum field, like the invisible realm, of course, that's who we truly are. That's the main part of us. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. So in this world, we definitely need our conscious mind. We definitely need our ego or me, the story. However, the most important thing is to understand that, yes, we are this, but we are also not only this.
Right.
So we are more than that. So during these sessions, we actually go and get introduced, as I call, to our true self, higher self, that is there, dormant, and the language of the subconscious mind through which we connect to our true self, to our superconscious mind, which is part of the infinite intelligence and everything. That's when you receive all those amazing, very deep and profound answers, which when you actually sort of get out of that state, when I reread my own answers, where I know that, Seth, you were also experiencing that, and Melanie, you just sometimes even think, wow, was this me? Coming up with these answers, because you definitely know it doesn't feel like it's you, meaning your surface personality,
Right.
the me, the narrator, the conscious mind, which is only a small part of our huge, expansive personality. So, yeah, and I can talk about this a lot. Did I answer the question?
Yeah. Well, the way that I keep looking at it is like two different ways. So because Seth and I have done hypnotherapy with you, we have the experiential understanding of what you're talking about. Like, we've experienced it. And so has our kid, which is really awesome. But the way that it feels to me, if I were to explain this to someone who had no idea what I was talking about, is that somewhere inside of each of us is a really healthy, healed part of us that is hidden under unhealthy behavior. So I'm just going to use like maybe alcoholism as an example. Like, maybe I started drinking to protect myself from, I use it as a coping mechanism, and it kind of worked for a while, but now it's an addiction, and I'm like covered by this alcoholism, and I really can't get out of it, and I feel so stuck, and I know that there's something better, and I know that there's like a healthy me somewhere, but I just can't seem to find it. So when I think of working with you, it feels like you're walking me, literally. Like, I lay down on your couch. I was at your house doing this, or out at the park, right? Yeah. I lay down, and then caveat, I remember thinking, this is not going to work on me. My brain is too busy. I like have 10 songs playing at one time. I'm writing a book on the other half of my brain. Like, there's too much going on. I love Salta, but this is not going to work. And like 4 seconds later, I was in another realm with Salta, and she was walking me. And it literally feels like she's kind of like holding you by the hand and walking with you in your mind to that healed, true, whole version of yourself that you've hidden, or that your body has even hidden from yourself to protect you. And she's helping untangle, like, well, why? She doesn't ask questions like, well, why would you drink? Oh, it's not that. Like, it's not that. But she will, through the process of hypnotherapy, uncover and unearth and just help you examine all of these things, the reasons behind it, and what is the true self trying to say to you, and what does like a healthy version of you look like? And that to me feels like the best way I can explain it is that Salta walks through whatever the thing is. So whether it's like struggling with an eating disorder, struggling with anger, struggling with understanding who I am and what's my purpose, or feelings of depression, whatever it is, she will walk you and help walk you through this, and in your mind help you untangle all the stuff that, like, for lack of a better way of saying it, gets in the way of the healthiest expression of yourself. Right? And I love that you brought up awareness, because I think if you study any field that is so whether it's sciences or personal development or anything, the thing that they're always going for is awareness. I know more. Awareness is just knowing more, being more aware, right?
Awareness is curative, right?
Right. Yeah. Awareness can be the beginning of healing. And so I don't know, there's just so much to say that hypnotherapy, I remember it sounding really weird the first time I heard about it, being like, well, that's voodoo. I don't know. Hypnotize? You're going to hypnotize me? What are you going to make me do? Like, that's the first thought I had. And then the second one was, that won't work on me. My brain is too busy. And then the third one was, I was completely wrong about all of that, and Salta is magical.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And thank you for reminding me, because of course I'm so excited. I just keep going into something that I want to say, and then I remember that you actually asked questions, right? So, of course, any session starts with debunking myths, because this actually said everybody thinks about stage hypnosis, right? Stage hypnosis has its own place, absolutely, because people who are entertainers and who love hypnosis, they do it. And those who actually are very open-minded, very extroverted, would like to be the center of attention, they just go and experiment. They just love that experience, right? So that's fine too. Whereas I am, of course, talking about clinical hypnotherapy or just hypnotherapy where you come and you work on your issues. In a way, you can call it, I sometimes say beyond meditation. Now I also learned the phrase dynamic meditation. I love that because in meditation, usually you do not deal with the contents of your mind. It's just a method to familiarize yourself with the mind, how it works, but not the content of the mind. Unless, of course, you are at such a level like enlightened beings. Of course, they just through meditation, they also sort of keep releasing. And that's what I wanted to talk about, like two ways, right? Radical or direct approach, which is about awareness, which is about through meditation, you just go into that state, you understand who you are, you understand exactly as Melanie says that everything else is just layers, unnecessary layers of your conditioned mind, which is all limiting beliefs, everything, all those like addictions, unwanted habits. Of course, what's behind that? Some unmet need. And when you come to a session, you actually get all those answers from your own subconscious mind. All the answers are within you. All we need to do, and that's why I call like the two of us like two detectives, right? I know the way, you know the answers. And while we are doing and discovering all of that, absolutely, Melanie, you're right. All of us have this divine nature. All of us have this divine spark in us. We are spiritual beings. In us, there is that place which is not tarnished, which is pure, will never be impacted by anything. So once we reach that place, then of course, that level of consciousness, which sort of infiltrates all of that, that's the energy field, that's the void which is in a great sense, the void, the field of infinite possibilities, the field of potential. That's when from that field, we actually have thoughts that start sort of manifesting, right? That's already formless, becoming a form. Thought is already a form of energy. So as they say, like quantum field, the void is the formless source of all forms. I love that poetic sort of phrase. And Melanie, actually, it's from that podcast that you sent to me, Dr. Dan Siegel with Tara Brach.
Oh, that was such a good,
Yeah, he was quoting one of the quantum physicists. And of course, I don't remember the name, but he was just saying, just listen how poetic it is. The formless source of all form. So it's just, so that's why basically we do have that place in us. So all we need to do is really to be able to listen to that inner voice, which is our benevolent coach when it comes from that place. It's not the critic. It's not the one that judges us like from our conscious mind, from the personality, as I call it, little self, which is necessary in this world. So as long as we sort of get rid of all the layers, it's just like an onion, right? You get to that nature because it is our birthright. Our innate nature is joy, abundance, love, light. And then when people say, how come I don't feel like that? Well, that's because just like Yusef and Melanie are saying, because we are so identified with this little self, with all of those layers. And then again, I'm coming back to two ways. How do we deal with this? One direct and radical way, you just keep releasing. You are not even interested in the contents of the mind. You just know there is a reason why I felt that way, or I forgot this. I'll just keep processing and I'll keep releasing. I'll be just saying like, negative thought, negative emotional experience, like consequences of trauma. So you will be just keep releasing it and you will become lighter and lighter and lighter. There is another way, of course, which is more gradual, and some people need that way, which is basically you do need to look into everything which is related to that event, whatever trauma you experienced, because events themselves don't do anything to you. I mean, of course, I don't want to sound like uncaring,
Right.
of course, especially when it's trauma, bodies, everything involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meaning it's the meaning
Mm-hmm.
and the making of sense
Mm-hmm.
that you sort of carry out or like define from that event.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the connections, which could be physiological, somatic, everything is sort of our issues are in our tissues, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you process them at different levels. And then most of them, remember, sometimes when it's a huge trauma or anything, the subconscious actually protects you by making sure that you don't experience anything. And actually, all those feelings and sensations are not in your conscious mind. So what you are doing actually during the second approach, you are processing all of that and sort of relieving.
Mm-hmm.
But then, of course, you are relieving it in a very safe environment.
Right.
You are not truly relieving it because we know that everything is just being processed in your mind, and you are just releasing that. And once you actually tune into that traumatic experience first and understand what happened and what kind of conclusions and what kind of beliefs you acquired because of that event, which, for example, I'm not worthy. I am not good, or I'm, if it's not that like traumatic experience, then I'm not smart enough. Like money is difficult to come by. Like we are always poor for generations. It's just all of those beliefs. And then once you understand, oh, this is where it comes from. It was imprinted in me. So then you just release, and then all of a sudden you come back and you experience your true nature. All of a sudden you become just confident, light, and joyous, and everything then goes your way.
So yes to all of that. I agree with all of that, and there's no way I could remember everything that I would want to talk about.
I know. I keep thinking like, I'm going to say, no, it's too good. I'm going to say, and then.
Well, you were saying that we get conditioned to things, right? Our conscious mind, the me part, gets conditioned to the world. And I'm thinking of like Pavlov's dogs, like you can classically condition to like when this bell rings, you associate it with food and all those studies that we know about. We get conditioned, and especially because this is a marriage show and an individual self-growth show, we get conditioned to, we can't do that. We should do this. This is how I measure my worth as a man or a woman, or a parent, or an individual, or an entrepreneur. We condition ourselves, oh, my mom was poor, my grandma was poor, my great-grandma was poor. That is what, and we go to what we know, right? Psychology tells us we go to what we know. We go to what we are comfortable with, what we learn from our family of origin. And in my understanding of a lot of things that you said, we can go into hypnotherapy saying, okay, yes, I am conditioned to what I am present, right? And that's saying that you are your circumstances are because of every choice you've made up until right now.
That's a saying.
That is a saying.
Your circumstances. That's a long saying.
Like you are where you are because of every previous decision, right? And not decision too, which is kind of trippy to think about.
Right.
And so we go into things, everything conditioned. And when we go into hypnotherapy, we're asking our conscious to set aside those conditions, that conditioning, all the stuff that we know, and we say, hey, we're going to go down here. And when I say down here, I'm kind of like, gesturing like our subconscious, our deep parts of our mind. We're going to mess around and look around and stuff, right? And then we're going to examine that and bring some lessons that we learned from that to debunk, to rewrite, to create a new narrative for our subconscious in that, and also to heal and to really believe. And this isn't, whenever we have, I always feel like I have to give caveats for some reason.
You don't need to caveat anything.
I'm conditioned to that, right?
Don't do it.
The caveats of, especially in Christianity, right? We have a lot of Christian listeners. I grew up that way. And a lot of people would say, oh, well, you were born just terrible, and the only way to, pureness, goodness, wholeness, cleanness is God, right? And which I definitely grew up that way with that dogma. but have learned since then, like, oh, wait a minute, God, supreme, what you said it, and I know a lot of people I read and listen to say it. What is it?
Oh no.
Higher conscious? No. One of
Divine
my favorite
nature.
Well, yeah, I guess all of that. One of my favorite guys, or Tolle talks about goodness goodness that knows no opposite, kind of thing. And I really love that description of God. It's like, oh, goodness that knows no opposite. Like God's nature, the Creator's nature does not know the opposite. That is not part of that equation, and that's what sets it apart. Kind of thing. Now, where was I going with that?
I don't know, but can I say a thing?
Well, hold on. I want to finish
Christians.
Yes.
You were talking about Christians.
So I want to kind of be the go-between as a psychotherapist, as someone who has experienced deep hypnotic states with you as a guide. And then also as a Christian, I'm like, okay, this does not have to be separate. It can be fully integrated,
right.
So I also, I think of like when you talk about, when you go into subconscious, like how we should be, not should, but how we were born to be, our true selves, our true nature as a spirit, right? Like we are spirits in a meat suit. That's what some people call it. Like in a physical body, we were spirits before, we were embodied spirits now, we will be a different spirit later, right? So
yes,
the wholeness and completeness of that, hypnotherapy gave me a very, very clear foray into, wait, this is who you really are, not what you have been conditioned to be through trauma, through growing up, through culture, through the world, through music, through anything that we've seen. And it is impossible to hold back the emotions once you dip into that and see yourself. And really, and I have a lot of psychotherapy clients who struggle greatly with this, loving themselves, seeing themselves as full. I am not damaged. I'm not broken. I am not less than. I am not just destroyed. That thing that happened to me was, of course, very messed up, but that does not define my subconscious, my spirit, who I truly am.
I want to add to that, because you have said in the past, like, again, Salta's my friend, so y'all should be jealous. We like take walks together and talk, and it's the best. But you have said that so I want to kind of reframe what Seth is saying, is that we're born these beautiful, innocent, amazing little beings. And we all know that if you've held a baby or had a baby or a puppy, you're like, these are amazing. They're so perfect and whatever. And slowly over time, we become, and again, I'm going to use this language, it's going to sound a little bit weird for a second. We become hypnotized by the things we've walked through. So you've talked about hypnotherapy dehypnotizing people, like taking them out of this like stuck trance that they think they're in. Like, oh, well, I had trauma, so that means I must be unhappy or I must be unworthy. Like that's its own form of hypnosis that keeps you trapped. And what I believe that you're doing is helping people break out of that and see their truly divine nature. Like they are amazing. They are good. Now, some of their habits and behaviors aren't, and those need to change, but that's the whole goal of hypnotherapy, right? And so I don't want to forget to ask you about the types of things that you've used. I know we could talk for like 700 hours about this, but like the types of things that you've seen hypnotherapy help people with, like specific stories. If you have some to share, that would be amazing. And then we can talk a little bit about how you helped us, but you go first.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you for this abbreviated introduction and description of everything that I'm doing. That's absolutely right. And I will give some examples. And of course, I will be giving some examples without any names and some composite sort of examples, right? So basically, I do believe that the universe works in such a way that whatever you do, especially if it's something you are passionate about, it's your mission, and that's what I believe, it's my high calling, to first of all work on myself, and then once I figure out, oh my gosh, this works, I want to share it. So because there are certain experiences that I myself went through, I do believe that those who have similar experiences and want to sort of sort out all this mess, which is close to mine, like very similar. Those are the ones who are sort of migrating towards me, because we need to be the right fit for each other, so that, whatever I'm going with them through, it's actually very authentic. I know and I feel and I know how they feel, what they went through, right? So that's why I think it helps me to build rapport. And so if I were to describe my sort of typical client, it will be those who are, if it's adults, it's those who are looking for themselves, as I would call it, like looking to understand who they truly are. Is this what they're experiencing right now, like their nature? Sometimes they come and even say, I don't even know what I want. I just know that I'm lost, which, as they say, is the beginning of your big hero journey, right? As long as you now understand that you are not so identified with your little self, with the story of me, you are now saying, I don't know who I am. That's the beginning of the great hero's journey. And then we actually go into this existential sort of who we truly are. Because I do believe, and I love this phrase, that hypnotherapy is people's tool, which means I share with the people how to do this so that they experience. And by experiencing, I mean emotionally feel. And they truly understand what I'm talking about that invisible realm, about the true self, about that untarnished and pure part of you. So once you experience that, whatever you have seen, whatever you have experienced, you cannot unsee. So you know that it's there, even if you fall off the wagon, or like your transformation is a little bit like stalled sometimes, because of difficult periods in your life. You just know that you can get there, you can get your answers, and you know that you will be getting those profound answers. So adults, they will be like, there is a huge, like, for example, my friends, we moved to a new country. I just feel lost, right? And then, as you say, for example, the accent, right? In a way, thank you for confirming that. Oh, cute accent, da da da. But some people, and of course, I also at the very beginning also felt like, wow, I'm not a native speaker. I have this accent, so most probably people will prefer others who are native speakers. So it's all those limiting beliefs, right? So adults, they will come to me with their own worries, anxieties, and everything is about the future, how it unfolds, what do I do? I don't know what to do. And then adolescents, I have quite a few adolescents, and I love working with them, especially girls, just because I guess I am a woman, and it's natural for me. I can understand, and I just have this passion for our girls to be powerful beyond measure. So in certain periods of our life, especially in adolescence period, it's like a major inflection point in our lives when they keep growing, and there is that window of opportunity to become enlightened, to become like aware of who you truly are. So that's why when they come and when they have all those questions, but in the meantime, they seem to be depressed, right? And so anxious, and they don't know, because the messages from culture, from society are so opposing, right? That like contradictory beliefs or standards, which you basically cannot meet if you want to be in congruence with your own internal values. So the specific examples for women, it's been weight loss, but it's so much more than weight loss, right? It's more of discovering who you truly are. And then basically the weight just falls off on its own once you do that deep inner work, right? For adolescents, for example, there was one boy who just couldn't go to school, stopped going to school. And just because, I don't know, overwhelmed and everything. And his mom just said, would you please do something? Just talk to him. And it's just amazing. Young individuals, they are so much closer to this center of us, this divine nature of our own, their imagination. They can much easier go into that state and then basically get their answers, feel that, and then understand that, hey, I am the captain of this ship. I am the captain of my fate, right? Yeah, my mind rules my body. I am the one who rules my mind. I am the one. The mind is my servant. I am the master. So most of the time, it's just we don't even realize. Melanie, thank you for reminding me. I love that when I read and I thought, wow, this is true. I think people come to me to be dehypnotized rather than hypnotized, right?
Yeah.
Because they are already walking and living in trance, thinking that this is who I am. Not knowing their divine nature, which is like abundant and powerful and free and love and light and all is well. All is well. The universe is benevolent. The universe has your back. It's just, so I don't know, did I answer your question?
No, that's amazing. And it's so cool. As you're talking, I keep thinking of like even clients that we work with, and I want to say this for someone who's listening, if you're like, well, how would I know if hypnotherapy was something that could help me? It's that you feel dissonance. You don't know what the dissonance is, but you have this like dis-ease, this like, oh, I just, like it could be, I just want to lose weight, but I don't know. And I feel this and I don't know who I am and I'm mad all the time or I'm scared. Like it's that friction, that inner turmoil is what hypnotherapy helps untangle and smooth out and clarify. And it's really, truly, truly amazing. Like it is transformative. And I kind of want to talk a little bit about our experience with it and the fact that you did hypnotherapy with our son. We've talked about it on our show before. Our kiddo went through a really hard season where it was, actually, I'd love to know like your perspective, of what that was like, because we weren't there when you did your sessions. Like you were at our house, but I would go to a different place. But we brought him to you because we're like, he's so unhappy with himself. Like, and at the time he was like 11, maybe he's only 13 now. So he's like 10 or 11. And we brought him, saying, we just know that there's something deeper going on. It just felt like this like tangle in there, and he was miserable and then in turn that made all of us like, we were all just suffering. So I would love to know, like, what was that like from your perspective? What sort of like, what did that look like? And then what did it look like?
Yeah. Thank you, Melanie. And because you are giving me permission to talk about this piece, specifically about your son, I can certainly elaborate more. And first of all, it was an honor to work with Tough because I just love kids. I know that they are so much more than us, actually, adults, and it's so much easier for them to get into that state and understand who they truly are. So, of course, I thought a lot and I thought about different protocols, and I asked you, Melanie, specifically, what are his favorite books? What are his like heroes, right? Because the subconscious mind, of course, the more we make it as a play, especially for kids, right, the better it is. So my perspective is that kids are right, especially kids, just because they're so much closer to the divine nature of ours. It's the society, and of course, including us, parents, sometimes, and of course, everything is unconscious. We're not doing it on purpose. We are learning as we go. So we are sort of in their way. We are looking only at their behavior without going a little deeper and understanding what is going on, what is his unmet need. So because we talked a lot about how basically any rebellion, and I'm sure you know this as parents, as counselors, psychologists, the first sort of, if you don't like something, or if there is something going on in you, and you feel unheard, somebody doesn't listen to you, then the first step is just rebellion. You do the opposite. Whereas so if certain parents, and you are not like that, which is great. That's why I just thought, oh my gosh, supportive environment. You are the wise parents who want your child to thrive, understand what's going on so that he just looks at it, learns from it, and just goes like forward, right? From one positive achievement to another. So basically, we look at what is the underlying need. And the underlying need, so that he then understands that instead of just sort of doing one step, which is rebellion, I actually take my time and become quiet. And I listen to myself and to my body, which in that moment wants to scream maybe, or do something like physically, whatever, like any adults are like that too, right? So once you just take some time, and then in that space, you listen to your body, you listen to your true needs, which is like your emotions will always tell you it's either like anger, for example, if your boundaries were violated, right? Like all feelings are there for a reason. So once you understand what's behind that, then, and of course we talked about that. I just said, why don't you do the second step right away? So first take a pause, like tune into yourself. And then once you understand this is my need, for example, like I would like my mom to let me know in advance when there is a change to a plan which has already been agreed, not like sort of ambush me. And of course, you never ambush you. It's just life, right? It happens. Sometimes it's just you need to quickly change the plans. But in the meantime, when you realize that some of the kids, the routine or something that was agreed on is very important. So all you need to do is to really understand. And I'm saying just help your mom, help your dad. Instead of just rebelling, you just take a pause. And we even came up with this concept. And I thought, that was a great one. When I reread it, I thought, did I do this? Oh, it's about, dragon. It's like, of course, this dragon there to protect him. The dragon that like, all of a sudden becomes angry and like starts waking up and the fire will be going everywhere, right? So once tough, and I even put that phrase there, I see you. I see you. I'll take care of this. I understand. Let me just understand first what's going on. I will do this. You don't need to wake up. Just keep sleeping. I will take care of us. So sort of the message was like that. So once you understand and once you then have a direct request, instead of just rebelling and opposing, you basically say, I don't agree, or I am not prepared because this is important for me and this is what I suggest we do.
Right.
So that's like taking two steps, right? Instead of, because all of us, when we don't like something or we are upset, we just take one step, which is rebellion, right? And you just do the opposite of what is requested of you. That's it. Or you don't do it at all, inaction, right? So instead of that, and that's what you, Melanie, and I discussed. Remember, I even said, oh my gosh, if we maybe come up with some movie or something where we show, hey, here's how you react. And it's truly a reaction, right? Like Pavlov's dogs, as you say, Seth, because your neurons, they fire together, they wire together, right? You've got that neural pathway, which says this is how you act when something like this happens. So basically, it's like reaction, no awareness. Once you keep listening to this audio and keep practicing this breathing, and then we also actually made sure that there was some action that he does, because of course the body wants to do something, and this old neural pathway wants you to act it out, this dragon, right? So you do this, I believe we did like have a glass of water, just do something, right? You just do something, glass of water. So there is this space between stimulus and response, which is in this case is not a conscious response, it's reaction. And then in this space, you just realize what you need, what was maybe not listened to, what you truly need, and then you come up with a conscious response. And I was telling Melanie that your kids are amazing. And then Melanie said, they'll be happy to be actors and actresses and play. I just said, wow, it will be great, to show this is your reaction. This is your dragon waking up, right? This is how you usually behave. This is when you connect with that divine nature in you, you take a pause, you process everything, and you understand, the inner child in you, what does it want? What do you want? What is it? What is it that you want, that you need? Oh, I need this, right? I need to ask mom to do this, not that, right? And then basically this conscious response, as I call it, inspired response from your divine nature will be so different. So different, and there will be like two scenarios.
Yeah.
So that's how I see.
I love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get emotional because the work that you did with Tough was literally transformative, and he is like a different kid now, and he's so thoughtful. And before it really was like he had a dragon that he couldn't tame. He couldn't figure it out, and he could see that it was hurting us, but he couldn't stop it, and we couldn't stop it, and we couldn't reach it, and we couldn't calm it. We just couldn't figure it out. And it was a seriously hard time for our family. No joke. That was the first time that I was like, oh, this is why people get divorced when their kids when their kids have a problem, when their kids struggle with something, because it was just like burning our whole family down, just to ashes. And so I am so passionate about the work that you do. And I think that the image that keeps coming to my mind is how many of us, all of us, have a dragon that sits in front of us that at one time was protecting us from whatever the thing was, right? And what would it look like if we could wake up to see it? That awareness, that's what we're trying to discover in ourselves, is that wake up to that dragon and go, wait, oh, I see. And I think that you even said in sessions with Tough is like, tell it thank you. Tell the dragon thank you for trying to protect you, but I can do this now.
Absolutely.
And that's the place where I think so few people are even aware. Again, this is a dehypnotizing part. Like all of us are sort of walking around with this monster in front of us, and the monster could be addiction. It could be anger. It could be, self-doubt. It could be anything. And we're just walking around blindly attacking each other with this thing, with this dragon. Right.
Yeah.
And so I can never say thank you enough for how you've transformed our kids and all of them, because even again, like you said in the beginning, we are all interconnected, and the health and well-being of Tough affects the health and well-being of Hattie and Mariner and me and Seth and my family. Like it just extends out where all these sort of like our ripples all overlap one another. Absolutely. And it's so important that we become healed and healthy and whole individuals. And so that is really why I wanted to have you on our show, was like the transformation that you've brought into our world, even individually, even as a friend, but specifically for our family. I couldn't find it anywhere else. We went to therapy. We tried medication. We read every book we could read, and those were all good. Those were all good things. So do those things. I'm saying this to everybody, do those things. But also, hypnotherapy is an unbelievably underused and under-respected, I think, thing in the general realm, right? But it is so powerful and so good, and literally transformed our family. And so again, I can't thank you enough. I will cry again if I talk about it too much. But it's like, also just have to say, Salta's my friend. Like, this is a friend that I get to talk to all the time, who thinks like this and loves like this and moves through the world like this. So your friends are important. Get a friend like Salta.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, all that stuff with our kids, like obviously it was very impactful. And when we did our own individual work, it was very impactful as well. And like you were saying, yeah, we did counseling, and it's like a constellation of health, right? Like, we're not saying hypnotherapy fixes everything.
Right.
Therapy fixes everything.
Nope.
Medication fixes everything. It is an overall, it's like, okay.
Biopsychosocial, spiritual. It's all of it.
Right. If I want to just lose weight, do I just stop drinking soda? No, I might stop drinking soda, drink more water, take a 30-minute walk, count calories or macros. It's an amalgamation of things, right? So, and like for me, who had experienced therapy, all kinds of different modalities, brief, solution focused, EMDR, which EMDR, in my opinion, having gone through EMDR and clinically knowing about it, was very, very close to the modality of hypnotherapy and a lot of things that you practice. It is really. And so it's a constellation of stuff. It's not just one thing. We're not saying that.
Absolutely.
Because that's just not in reality, that's just not it. So, but for us, and like my work with you, I don't remember how many sessions we did, maybe 5 or 6 or something. But
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
One of my very, very, very most impactful favorite sessions was when it may have been the like second or third, like getting to know like the process and stuff. And literally I had a very clear subconscious picture of what I wanted. And like, there's a line that you said, hey, you just saw your future. And I'm like,
yeah,
what? And the future was a lot of things that my true self desires.
Right.
Was relationship and experiences and love,
like health and well-being,
and kindness and wealth and everything was in the realm of thriving.
Yeah.
Right? Just thriving only. Right. And it was powerful because I remember it. I don't know if you remember it.
I do.
But I
remember you telling me about it.
And I walked out and I said, hey, I just saw the future and it changed you. You were like, I mean, you responded in kind. You know what I'm saying? And it was just so, it was so cool. Yeah. And I've had other meditative experiences, but like what you were saying earlier, and I caught that, meditation, like deep meditation, sometimes we're just trying to clear our mind, right? Okay, a thought comes in, acknowledge it, the thought comes out. Thought comes in, acknowledge it.
Right.
You don't get stuck, right? And for a lot of people, me included, those meditative experiences were very relaxing because as we're in the world, we're thinking of this, and you said you had 10 songs playing in your mind. It's oftentimes hard to turn our brains off. Meditation, for a brief moment, goes, okay, you are turned off, right? And with my work with addictions, my own experiences with drinking too much and stuff like that, we're like looking to turn our brain off, right? So meditation can be very helpful for that. But hypnotherapy for me, and I'll only speak for me, gave me the opportunity to not only turn my brain off and tune out those things, but turn it on for real by going, like I keep on doing this a lot because I feel like it's okay. I'm diving in to the deep end, So I was able to turn stuff off, all this chatter, monkey mind, like you used to say, and then go, okay, now we're going to the real reals, whatever the realest part, right? And in that, it was my subconscious telling my conscious saying, hey, this is what you really want. This is what's really important. This is what it is. And if you follow that, you will see your future. You will have this. And like, it was clear as day as, I don't know if you remember, I sure do, but like, picturing our perfect house on our property.
Right.
And I mean, I can't remember if our vision boards showed that house.
I don't think we have.
I think we did, but maybe. it was like, it wasn't far off from what my conscious was already thinking, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's there if you want it,
right?
Abundance, joy, happiness, love, all this stuff. It's there if you want it.
Yeah, I think that I want to kind of piggyback on that too. Is that again, I keep having this vision of that dragon, and I totally forgot that was something that you created during his hypnotherapy sessions. Like I forgot about that, but it's like all of us have a dragon and there's like briars, like sticker bushes just everywhere. And so that untangling that I talked about, I think what hypnotherapy really does is it takes away that like these spiny, pokey, jaggy things that are meant to keep everybody out. So immediately when you're talking about like your own journey and going in deeper, I could feel my own dragon want to be like, oh, don't, like, that's not safe. You might be, right? Like it just feels like what's behind that is so delicate, and it is, but it isn't. It's the kind of the essence of who we are. But so many of us are just like, put out briars, put out a fence. We need barbed wire. We need a dragon. Like, and we're just like piling these things in front of us. But if we could strip all of that away, there's just a person, a spirit on the other side of that going, I actually have needs. And I do feel, like I don't feel hurt, or I do feel like invalidated, or whatever the thing is. And so I just I love that your work leads people to that true version of themselves. And really the true version is just health. You're wonderful, you're good. And it's all leads to health and wellness and well-being. And that is just what I think is so amazing. But I want to say two things. Number one is at the end of this episode, connected to it, there is a meditation that Salta did. So I've added it onto the episode. If you want to see it on our website, you can also go see it there. But so it's a really amazing meditation. Don't listen to it like while you're driving, maybe, because you might
definitely don't
fall
do that.
asleep. Yeah, don't do that.
From experience, get on a couch, lay down, no kids, put in headphones.
Yeah, it's really, really amazing. So that Salta was so kind to share that with us. And again, I put a video to it as just like peaceful, beautiful things in case you're like me and it's hard to close your eyes. But before we wrap up, Salta, I want you to tell everybody where they can go to find you, like all of that stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, first of all. And I would like to actually say that whatever I do, I am just there to facilitate anybody's own hero journey. Same for Taft, same for you, Melanie, same for Seth. It's you who are doing that. It's absolutely you. And what is helping us, or who is helping us? It's the state of grace, right? It's me in this realm, just helping redirect that invisible force, this invisible energy that is there to help you awaken to your true nature. And that's when everything becomes so clear and so easy. You've got the answers. And it says, I see the future of the abundant, true Seth, right? And then I am so glad to hear actually that I hope most of it already, your sort of dream became your reality. And you look at it and you think it's like a miracle. And it is a miracle. And we can do those miracles all the time. It's just, wake up to our divine nature. Talk to me, call me. My site is, I always confuse it with my email. So my site would be hypnotherapy-for-change.com. And my email to get in touch with me, and of course my site will also have a form there. And there are articles there, anything that I can share with you. I am happy to do that. The email is saltajones@hypnotherapy-for-change.com. That's my email.
Awesome. I hope that you get a ton of clients. If you're looking for clients, I promised you guys. So I'm talking to listeners right now.
Yes.
You guys know us. We've been in this space. I'm a therapist. I've done a lot. I even did hypnotherapy with a guy who was almost $1,000 an hour, and he did not hold a candle to what you did, Salta. And I am not saying that just because I promise.
And this guy has he has a reputation for being successful. And we
worked
like
with like famous people
so
and like some people that we knew. I was like, oh, I'll try that because I like to try stuff, right? But I promise you, Salta, it was nothing compared to the work that you do, your personality, your spirit around that. It was magnificent. And so listeners, go to hypnotherapy-for-change.com. Check out Salta. I promise you will not regret it. Book a couple of sessions with her. It's amazing.
And one thing I want to say too, that we didn't make very clear is that and I'm going to make sure that this is correct still for you. When you worked with us, you made us recordings. And so we would have a session and then you made a scripted recording. So people, hear me when I'm saying this. You're not just talking to Salta and then going away with nothing. You talk to her. It's an amazing experience. She does her hypnosis on you. It's like the coolest thing ever. But then she sends you her voice recording a message just for you and the things that you walked through and the things that you need, how to tame your specific dragon. Salta creates this recording for you. And it is you'll hear from the recording at the end of this episode. It is one of the most relaxing, it just feels like, Riva, the lady who works with us on everything, was like, it feels like being in a hug. Just listening to Salt is like being hugged. And so it's amazing. So I wanted to really clarify that, what your sessions entail is much more than just meeting. It's way different than that.
Absolutely.
So is there anything you wanted to add to that I missed maybe? That would be helpful?
I would like to add very quickly, reconfirming, absolutely. I am here in this space because I do believe that This is my mission. This is what gives meaning to my life. So whoever comes to me, if we are the right fit for each other, then absolutely, I am there all the way, like every step of the way for you, which means we are together during the session, experiencing, discovering, and practicing how to get into that state to get your answers. And then when you are away until our next session, of course, there is educational material that I send to you. There are definitely customized recordings, because when I believe, okay, we had a breakthrough, let's definitely now make sure that these personal affirmations that now sound true to you, feel true to you, that you keep listening, because that little me, the personality, that old groove is there. The old neural pathway is there. What we need to do is keep creating and practicing the new neural pathway so that basically you just start using always by default the new one, and the old one will always stay there. It will atrophy, however, it will still be there. It's just neuroscience confirms what you are aware of, you can change. So basically, you just know you need to be a little bit more alert and more conscious if there are difficult periods, like in your life, if there is some stress or anything, because that old neural pathway is still there. It just atrophied. However, just be aware, right? And yeah, relapses sometimes happen, but you just know you cannot unsee what you have seen. So
Yeah, and
true.
Again, you want someone like Salta helping you out. Like, look at the passion that this woman has. It's amazing. It is amazing. But anyway, thank you so much for all of this. Thank you for offering your time. We are going to send everybody your way. Again, go to hypnotherapy-for-change.com to learn more about Salta and to work with her. Thank you again for spending this time with us. We love you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Right. I love you too. Thank you. All
right, talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Anatomy of Us. This podcast is produced by my mom, Melanie Studley, and hosted by my dad, Seth Studley. Our show is edited and published by our producer, Reva Hansen, from Creative Media Support. Special thanks to our Patreon members that get an extra episode every week. Thanks for watching. Love you. Bye.
Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Sit or lie back. Loosen any tight or restricting clothing and make yourself comfortable. If sitting, keep your back straight and your head slightly tilted down. If lying down, position your hands at your side and do not cross your legs. You are about to experience a very relaxing guided meditation. I invite you to repeat all my instructions to yourself in your mind as I say them. Now stare at a spot high up on the wall across from you. Stare at that spot without moving a muscle. Be perfectly still while you focus on my instructions. I am going to slowly count backwards from 10 to 1. Each time I count, take a deep breath in and very slowly blink your eyes. 10. Take a deep breath in. Blink your eyes ever so slowly. And then exhale slowly. Continue staring. 9. Take a deep breath in. Blink your eyes as you exhale very slowly. That's right. 8. Take another very deep breath in. When you blink your eyes and exhale ever so slowly, Let go of unnecessary tension. Good. Continue staring. Each time I count, take a deep breath in. Blink your eyes ever so slowly, while exhaling even more slowly. 7. 6. 5. That's right. Continue staring while you take a deep breath in, blink your eyes slowly, and exhale even more slowly. 4. 3. Very good. 2. 1. And now you can just close your eyes and keep them closed. Your eyelids are now very tired. In your eyelids, you find a comfortable feeling of tiredness, of relaxation, or a moving sensation. However you experience this feeling, let it magnify and multiply. Let it increase until your eyelids are totally, completely, and pleasantly relaxed. This is something you do. No one else can do it for you. Take your time and relax your eyelids even more. As you relax them, you can allow that feeling of relaxation to flow outward in all directions. Imaginary waves or ripples of pleasant relaxation now move throughout the entire face. Allow your entire face to relax. As you do so, waves of relaxation spread over the head. Welcome this wonderful feeling as it spreads throughout your entire body. Completely and pleasantly, your entire body is relaxing. And you slow down just a little bit. You can slow down a little bit more and a little bit more. More in perfect harmony now. You are at your own natural level of relaxation. It's something you want. It's happening here. It's happening now. As you relax more and more, your breathing will become slow and even. Mentally say to yourself, my feet are relaxing. They are becoming more and more relaxed. My feet feel heavy. Rest for a moment. Repeat the same suggestions for your ankles. My ankles are relaxing. They are becoming more and more relaxed. My ankles feel heavy. Rest again. In the same way, relax your lower legs. That's right. My lower legs are relaxing. They are becoming more and more relaxed. My lower legs feel heavy. Rest for a moment. Now your thighs. My thighs are relaxing. They are becoming more and more relaxed. My thighs feel heavy. That's right. Pause each time to feel the sensations of relaxation in your muscles. Relax your pelvis. Keep repeating that your pelvis is becoming more and more relaxed. Your pelvis feels heavy. Rest. Relax your abdomen. That's right. Your abdomen feels comfortable and relaxed. Rest. Relax the muscles of your back. That's right. Rest. Relax your chest. Mentally say to yourself, my heartbeat is calm and regular. Rest. Relax your fingers. Say to yourself, my fingers feel heavy. Relax your hands. Rest. Relax your forearms, your upper arms, your shoulders. Rest. Relax your neck. Rest. Relax your jaw, allowing it to drop a little. Relax your tongue. Relax your cheeks. Relax your eyes. Rest. Relax your forehead and the top of your head. Mentally say to yourself, my forehead is cool. Now just rest. Allow your whole body to relax. Just being in this peaceful state of relaxation is healing for you. Enjoy this pleasant time while your body restores itself. Now say to yourself, I am now deeply relaxed in a calm, peaceful state of mind. My whole body feels healthy and strong. My mind feels quiet and clear. My mind is open and receptive to images that will be helpful to me. In a moment, think about, imagine, sense or feel a beautiful beam of light, perhaps white light, descending upon you from above. Imagine this light brings a wonderful feeling of relaxation, peace, and tranquility. You want it to happen, and you watch it happen. As you inhale your next breath, bring the warm, relaxing light down to you. Imagine a light moving down into your scalp, a warm and relaxing light. Imagine, sense or feel relaxation moving down into your neck, and into your shoulders and into your arms. Just letting your arms be still. You may notice as you exhale your next breath, your arms growing more and more comfortable, loose and limp, as they release unnecessary tension. Imagine, sense, and feel that warm and relaxing light moving down into your back, into your chest and abdomen. Now say to yourself, I am relaxing. Think about relaxation moving down through the back, into the hips and legs. A warm and relaxing sensation moving down your legs as you are going down deeper and deeper into a pleasant relaxation now. Down into your legs. Just send the mental thought of relaxation. The relaxing energy is moving pleasantly down into your feet and toes now. Again, say to yourself in your mind, I am relaxing. That's right. With each easy breath that you take, imagine breathing in this fresh, healing, and renewing light. And with each exhale, imagine letting go of any tension. That's right. This light is here to stay. And even if you don't remember it, it will be in you and all around you, doing a perfect job of healing, renewing, and empowering you. Enjoy this pleasant time while your body restores itself. You can stay in this relaxed state as long as you like. To return to your ordinary consciousness, mentally say, I am now going to move. When I count to 3, I will raise my left hand and stretch my fingers. I will then feel relaxed, happy, and strong, ready to continue my everyday activities. If you are ready to go to sleep, simply let go of my voice now and transition into a deep and restorative sleep.